Looks like Canada is getting serious about its immigration problem, and now deportations are on the table. Ladies and gents, welcome back. Now, this immigration problem is a multifaceted one, to say the least. There are a lot of people here for a lot of different reasons, and some of them are not good reasons. Some of them are nefarious reasons, and some of them have come with criminal intentions. This is the reality of the situation. And if you have criminal intentions, well, I'm sorry, but that's the first step to us saying you're probably not welcome here at all. In fact, BC climate activist is facing imminent deportation without reprieve from minister. The reprieve from minister is him begging, apparently, to not have to be deported after committing crimes in Canada. Climate activist in British Columbia says he's packing his bags and plans to report to the Vancouver airport later Saturday to face deportation back to Pakistan, believing his removal from Canada is certain without ministerial intervention. Well, what did he do? Well, Hack, who co-founded the activist group Save Old Growth, as a international student, pleaded guilty to 5 charges of mischief in 2013 over his role in environmental protests that blocked roadways in 2021 and 2022. If you recall anything from that sort of era, Canadian government takes those things very seriously. we know because Canadian citizens have been through the ringer for not blocking roads. Even they didn't even block roads in Ottawa. They went to Ottawa to just be there, but they just even being accused of blocking roads will find you in the court system for years and years and years. So yeah, this guy is getting deported, but we're seeing all kinds of things throughout Canada that are quite let's say unsavory, perhaps things like this.
Death to Canada, death to the United States, and death to Israel.
Yeah, we're seeing too much of that sort of thing now. Politicians are piping up about it. Pierre Poilievre calls to deport temporary residents involved in violence or hate crimes. Anything of the sort. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has called for the deportation of temporary residents carrying out violent crimes or hate crimes in Canada. His comments came during the Holocaust Memorial Ceremony in Ottawa to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz concentration camp. I'll play the clip here of what he had to say.
We see on our own streets anti-Semitism, guided by obscene, woke ideologies that have led to an explosion in hate crimes. Hate crimes were up over 100% in Canada before October 7th. Now they're up 251%, with Jews being the principal victims of those crimes. We must not just condemn these things, we must take action against them. We must deport from our country any temporary resident that is here on a permit or a visa that is carrying out violence or hate crimes on our soil. It was obscene that the IRGC remained legal in Canada for 4 years after it killed 55 of our citizens in the attack on PS Flight 752. It is outrageous that 700 IRGC officials are on Canadian soil, many of them living the lap of luxury on the fruits that they stole from their own people. And we must condemn when our own government gives grants for anti-racism to people like Leif Maruth, or appoints Birju Datani to head up the Canadian Human Rights Commission. We must stand up against these outrages and stand for bringing our people together, united in our common values, our common freedom, and our common love for our country and for humanity.
And obviously, this has become a big problem with the United States as we're bringing in people that are quite unsavory. And as soon as we find that information out, we should be getting them out of here. Absolutely, if not handing them over to authorities. Now, the whole idea and the whole practice about bringing in immigrants is to fill in positions that we would otherwise not be able to on our own. And that turns out to be not so, well, it's not what they're doing, in fact, even. And where the immigration process is all over the map. Now, Darshan Maharaja is a great reporter on this subject. He's been talking about this. He's been on the show several times, and he writes a lot of articles, and I'm going to leave this one in the description down below, House of Cards. I recommend you read this. It's talking about the narrative around the whole reason why we're bringing in all of these immigrants. And one particular point I wanted to point out here is that we're supposed to be bringing people in to help out with the construction for building houses. Well, it's not happening, actually. To my knowledge, he says, only the X account, now deactivated by the owner, called Justice Queen, dug up the data, which I mentioned on Clyde Do Something's podcast. That number was a grand total of 251 immigrants in skilled trades category over a period of 2 years. That's all of Canada. They only brought in, we were talking about hundreds of thousands of people being brought into the country, and only 251 are coming in to help build houses, things like that. Recently, another person obtained the data via ATIP on the aspect of immigration, which I am reproducing below with permission. So the data is on this. I'll leave a link in the description down below. You can check it out for yourself. As you can see, as of September 30th, 2024, the total number of immigrants in the skilled trades category awaiting the issuance of a visa was 29. No kidding. In addition, there were 94 other applicants in the pipeline, 82 in the pending eligibility decision stage, and a further 12 in the pending final decision stage. Notably, these numbers weren't materially different from the numbers in 2023. But what are we seeing more of? We're seeing more of international students that have come over here on a scam sort of thing, where they can go to some college, whatever. The purpose isn't for higher education. The purpose was to just get in the door, to get their immigration here, and coming over with no skills whatsoever. And the majority, I think, talking with Darshan, the biggest diploma that's even being given out, if these people are finishing their higher education, is for business degrees. So you could be a manager of, I don't know, a retail outlet. Do we need more of that in Canada? No, but they're definitely fighting to stay in Canada. This is a group of them that were in a tent. They were camped out in a tent as a protest, all with visas that were expired and no chance of renewal, protesting to say that they want to stay in Canada. They've subsequently understood what it's like to be in cold weather and have had a change of heart. They're making a different plan moving forward.
Hello everyone. We on behalf of PGWP committee would like to make an announcement that we are changing the strategy for our protest. While we are changing the strategy and we are no longer going to hold 24/7 encampment, we want to remind that our fight is far from over. We are just changing our methods. We will continue to fight against unfair immigration policies. Our whole
The unfair immigration policies that they're referring to is the fact that they were promised by third parties that they would be able to get citizenship in Canada on a temporary student visa. Now remember, it's temporary. It's in the name. You come, you go to school, you go home. That was the idea. Rupa Subramanya saying these people have overstayed their visas and are in Canada illegally. We know their identities and locations. They should be deported to India at their expense. Mark Miller, you have the authority to act. Canada's law and order is failing. That's what's happening. And what do a lot of these people what are they starting to do? They're turning around and then they're filing refugee claims, saying that they can't go back to where they're from. And lawyers here in Canada are obliging, and it's pretty gross to see this happening.
Hi, this is Kamal from our Immigration Services. Refugee applications. Some of the commonly asked questions. Number one, I am an international student in Canada, or I am on a postgraduate work permit. I am living in the country from past 5-6 years. Is it possible for me to file a refugee status inside Canada? Answer is yes, you can file refugee status inside Canada. The bigger question is, will my refugee application be approved? Yes, there is a possibility for your application to be approved if you are able to present a credible scenario stating that when you came to Canada at that time, there was no risk to your life. Circumstances changed. In the last 5 years, the way things have unfolded, there is a serious risk to your life if you leave Canada or if you enter your home country. We need to present proper, credible evidence as well.
Yeah, so basically we need to BS your application. Now there's a financial incentive for a lot of these people to get onto this status, largely because Canada will pay them. Your tax dollars will go towards this. Ryan Garrettson pointing this out. People are claiming to be refugees in Canada get $224 per day from our government to eat and stay in a hotel room. That works out to be $81,760 per year, $20,000 more than the average Canadian salary. Absolutely unbelievable. Mind you, that's after tax as well. That's after tax. They get $80,000 to just be here on a false claim. In large part, a lot of these are fraudulent claims. And Pierre Poilievre is pointing this out. He pointed this out a few months ago, mentioning this. These people gotta go, and he's gonna make sure that that's what happens.
There are between 20,000 and 500,000 people in Canada illegally. 20,000 to 500,000. They don't know. And they say there could be more. Then we know that there are 30,000 people who've been ordered deported that have not left. We know that for sure. Trudeau has lost control of our immigration.
How do you get
system.
control?
I will take back control. First of all, we will track down the 30,000 people who've been ordered deported, and I will have them deported from this country. They've been ordered deported. These are people who are not eligible to be here. We will find them and we will deport them.
Do we have the resources for that?
We do. We just have to direct them to the front lines rather than the back office bureaucracies. Secondly, we will have a rapid approach to treating these new and mostly false refugee claims. For example, I think we should signal that there will be what I call a last in, first out. So people who submit claims now because they're frankly international students who want to stay, they're not real refugees. They're not bad people, but they're using the refugee system to try and stay. We have to treat their case immediately so they know that it's not worth it. We have to secure the border so there's no more people coming in illegally and then staying the 14 days necessary in order to be eligible for a refugee application that can take years. We have to stop them from coming in the first place. And then we have to set numbers for immigration that our economy, our housing market, and our healthcare system can absorb. So that means reducing the number.
That means reducing the numbers. And it's really incredible because this is a situation we have to accept. We have to accept the fact that immigration is a thing that we need here in Canada. There are going to be positions, there are going to be, growth opportunities to have immigration, but we need to have a good immigration system. Largely what we usually had before Justin Trudeau. That was a good immigration system. We saw things working out for decades and decades, generations of, newcomers coming to Canada and contributing, becoming Canadian. Assimilation was a large process in that. But of course, this has all been thrown out the window by some crazy ideology that the Liberal government has had for the past 10 years. But I'd love to hear what you have to say on this. Again, it's a multifaceted issue. Immigration is not a bad thing, but the way we've been doing it is definitely a bad way to do it. So love to hear what you have to say. Comments in the comment section down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.